Welcome to week 6. In this lesson, we'll learn about how to solve for different variables. More specifically, we'll learn how to solve for x. We often say solving for x because x is probably the most common variable we'll use in algebra. So there's two forms. It's either in solved form or not solved form. You could say not solved yet. Solved form means the x is on the left-hand side and everything else is on the right-hand side. You should no longer see an x on the right-hand side. It should only be an x on the left-hand side. This is not solved, even though there's an x on the left-hand side, because there is a 2 here. You have to move the 2 to the right-hand side, and then it'll be solved. This is also kind of considered solved because x is all by itself. However, we like and prefer having x on the left, not on the right. So when we solve for x, we use the inverse of PEMDAS. We learned about PEMDAS in the last lesson, and inverse means the opposite. Here, we can see the order of operations, or PEMDAS, and solving for x. We do the opposite or the inverse of everything. But take a look, it's just going backwards. So instead of starting with parentheses, parentheses will be last. And instead of ending with subtraction, subtraction will be first. So anytime you see a subtraction when you solve for x, that will start, then addition, division, multiplication, exponents, and parentheses, the opposite everything. Also, when we solve, if you see something like a subtraction, you will do the opposite of that as well. So opposite of subtraction is addition, opposite of addition, subtraction. Division and multiplication, they are opposites. Exponents is special. We'll learn more about it in a future lesson maybe. And the inverse of that will be radicals, and there's parentheses last. So let's try this problem together. Normally when we solve for this and we use PEMDAS, what will we do first? Whatever's inside the parentheses, then outside. Since there's a multiplication and subtraction inside the parentheses, we'll do the multiplication first, then the subtraction, and likewise outside, we'll do the multiplication before the addition. So step 1, 2, 3, and 4. However, now that we are solving for x, we do the inverse of this. So we do not start with step 1, we start with step 4. See a plus 5? How can we cancel this? We must use the opposite or the inverse of plus 5, and the inverse will be to subtract 5. If you look here, there's a positive 5. How do we cancel it? We subtract 5, because 5 minus 5 will be 0. It will be eliminated on the left-hand side. But whatever we do on the left, we must also do on the right because of the equal sign. Equal sign means both sides must stay the same. So once again, whatever we do on the left, we must also do on the right. Once we do this, we will be done with step 4. We will go on to step 3. As you can see, the 5's cancel, and 11 minus 5 is 6. Now if we look here, what is step 3? It's being multiplied by 3. What is the opposite of multiplying by 3? It's to divide by 3. Divide by the left and divide by the right. These will cancel. 6 divided by 3 will be 2. Now we go on to step 2. Here's a subtract 2. Also, opposite of subtraction is addition. These will cancel. This side will become 4. Last step, multiply by 4. What is the opposite of multiplying? It is dividing. 4 divided by 4 is 1. We'll have 1x on the left. 4 divided by 4 is also 1. We'll have 1 on the right. We do not need to write 1x because 1 times x is just x. So we can just leave it as x minus 1, and we have solved for x. This will be your final answer. Let's try another problem. Take a look at this problem and see if you can figure out the original order when we're using PEMDAS. You can pause the video. All right, let's see what you did. First step, you will do what's inside parentheses, then multiply. You could also think of the top here as an invisible parenthesis, so we'll do everything on top of this division sign before we take care of the bottom. Then the divide, and then the subtract. Now when we solve for x, remember you're doing the inverse, so we'll go bottom up, or you could just do opposite of what you numbered. We'll start with number 4. Subtract 3, opposite of subtraction is addition. we need to add 3 to both sides. Now we'll go on to step 3. This was division. What is the opposite of division? It's to multiply. We multiply 3 to the left-hand side, and we multiply 3 to the right-hand side. Now we'll go on to up here. So this is multiply by 2. Oh, sorry, it's simplified first, and then 4 times 3 is 12. We'll get rid of this multiply by 2 by dividing by 2 on both sides. This 2 will cancel here. 12 divided by 2 will become 6. And one last step, adding 2. Opposite of adding 2, to subtract 2. Subtract 2 on the left, subtract 2 on the right. This will cancel out. 6 minus 2 will be 4. And here we go. We have it solved for x equals 4. If this is confusing, make sure you watch the video again, and also make sure you do lots and lots of practice. It really helps to learn solving for x through practice. It's probably the best way to learn. And if you have any questions, make sure you email me for help. Have a great week.